Bang, we are live. Episode 27, live on the Kaspa Standard across YouTube and X. You know, this started as live on the Kaspa Standard because we're going live on VPOR every week. VPOR has their development to grow, just like we all do as a crypto community, Caspians as well. So here we are. We are live on X, live on the Kaspa.s, live on YouTube, youtube.com/live on the Kaspa Standard. I am Bishop at LOTKS.kas. That is Juan at Juan G Ramos 888. Episode 27 of Live on the Kaspa Standard. What is up, sir?
We're here, brother. Another Monday, another fun day. Ready to roll. So we got people trickling into the spaces. We're live on YouTube. Hell yeah, man. Happy to get the week going. How was your week? How was your proof of work living on the Kaspa Standard week?
Yeah, my proof of work was pretty dope. I got a lot done at the rental property. We're moving in the right direction, little update from last week. We had a scare with Gypsy. She was, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I gave my son props to the little man, to the pawn. I said, hey, man, thank you for having hope. She's not fully turned around, but she's now eating strong, which is good. And taking her medicine orally so we don't have to inject the liquid. So vibes are up. Last week vibes were a little bit down, going through a valley. Right now we're peaking a little bit, and we're trying to just kind of plateau so we can be smooth, ride in positive energy, harness that frequency to really just, feel okay that things are okay. You know what I mean? So,
Beautiful, man.
Yeah. As far as Kaspa goes, daily buy, as always, it's been less than 300 Kas for a while, which is cool. That means that, Kaspa's in a nice stable position. Again, we don't do price much, but yeah, other than that, just trying to be really, when it comes to Kaspa, as we talk now to an idea, sticking in that sovereignty, feeling like I'm not bound to the system. I have a window contractor that I've been negotiating with for probably a little over a month now, if not a little bit longer. And it's a big company. They're worldwide or nationwide, if you will. And they keep trying to get back at me because I got a great deal from them. And they keep trying to get me to give some of that money back, and as they're needling me, I'm like, look, I don't have a problem paying for more, but it's got to be true. So I'm running through the operation. They're like, hey, so this needs to be done. So I'm like, well, look, let me take a picture, send you a voice note. Dude, there's 11 windows that got to get done. I sent 11 pictures and a voice note to detail each picture so we can be on the same page. I said, look, if it's true, I'll pay for it. But right now, what you're saying, it's not true. And I did the whole thing. The guy hits me back. He's like, look, we're moving forward. No extra charges. I'm like, cool. So not feeling like I'm bound to their version of the truth, right? I have to present my version of the truth. And at this stage, I guess I win. You know what I mean? Like, my version of the truth is more true. And so it's really cool, man. Again, having that mental sovereignty, it allows you to enter these conversations for services or otherwise with truth, as opposed to, well, they're the professionals, they know what they're talking about. It's like, yes, while they do, they also are business, and they're in the business of making money. So yeah, man, that was a good victory for me because it saved me a couple $1,000.
Nice, man. Yeah, man.
How about you? What's it looking like for you on the proof of work end?
Yeah, brother. Going to again, the show is called Live on the Kaspa Standard, and like you said, we obviously met in the ecosystem of Kaspa, and the whole purpose of this is really to we say it a lot on the show. We've said it 27 episodes in, bro. This is pretty awesome. But Kaspa is a noun to an idea, and the original ethos is what really drew me to Kaspa. I'm just finding, bro, I'm finding so many parallels in my life coming from presence. I'm somebody who goes deep within. You've referenced me as Pastor Juan. I am a certified shaman. I can serve mushrooms and all that. I have people that seek me out for that. And you know, the practice that I always talk about is like coming from presence, like being where you're at and really operating from there. So I know for me, you know, I had a really intense dream last night. I shared it on a voice note with you. I know you did. I don't think you checked it out because it was right before the show. So no biggie.
I listened.
You listened?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's why
Yeah.
that's why we got on right at 12. It was a 4 minute message, and it was 4 minutes
Yeah.
to 12. So I listened.
Oh, sweet, man. I mean, I didn't think I was like, okay, he's probably not going to get to it. And I was running around like making sure I got my headstand in, making sure I got the energy flowing, you know, to get on the show here and chat it up and vibe in this conversation like we do on a weekly basis. Um, but yeah, to share a little bit about the dream, it was like I was in a classroom and it's kind of like how I've been living and I think, you know, the word sovereignty, I've been really sitting with that word. And I actually got this practice. I want to shout out my previous co-host of Beneath the Surface, Kara. You know, Kara was her and her dad. They would share words, and I got this practice from her. I haven't done it as much, but I've been, you know, diving into this just like when I get to a word and kind of sit with it, really see what it means for me, right? And like live it and understand what's the energy behind the word. And I think that's shifting. I think that's shifting with what this protocol is all about and what we're doing here on the show and what we're talking about. And I think, you know, like last week was a beautiful example. We had several people on the show. We had, you know, we got Beneath the Surface, you know, with Pragmas who introduced himself last week. We had Odie come up and share, you know, even Kaspa teacher came up and commented on a few things. So yeah, brother, for me, I see myself really in the practice of presence and how that really amplifies everything. So to go back to the dream and tie that in, it was just like I was in this dream and like really there, and people were kind of like how people do on X, like battle back and forth, and you're wrong and I'm right and all that. So that there was this energy of people going back and forth. And then for me, I was, you know, because I'm in Caspa and have these conversations weekly, I'm like, do you guys even understand what money is? People are like, why are you talking? Who cares about money? And then I came back and I was like, well, it's the base. We care about money. It's actually the only way that we can communicate with each other and exchange value and energy. Like that's what money represents. And then, you know, as I'm speaking of that, as I'm talking about it right now, like I see the foundational structure of like blockchain and then the evolution of block DAG and what this all means like beneath the surface. Okay. And then I go there and then like you know, I've shared, right? I've sat with medicine, ayahuasca specifically 10 times and what that journey has been like for me. Cause it's really, what it did for me was just like heal this generational trauma. I'm talking like I've gone back hundreds of years and I'm somebody who doesn't know I don't know my biological father. In 17 years into my life, I had to divorce my parents and then like had community raise me. So it's like I've had to find my sovereignty in life and I've had these things thrown at me. And then like with the business part of what I'm doing now, I'm getting into some of these circles and developing these relationships, and I'm having to like share that story, connecting with people, and it's pretty cool because like as I tell the story now, like I'm telling it from a very different perspective and angle. I'm doing it more from like a sovereignty standpoint and being like, oh man, that's why I went through that journey. That's why I experienced what I experienced. You know, I've shared on the show previously that, you know, like for me, there wasn't like a green pill or orange pill moment. For me, it was like I got my foster family and I had the night and day difference of what it's like to operate in a family. Like I got this sovereignty and freedom when I got my foster family, and I grew up in a very militaristic, do as you're told, don't ask fucking questions type of you know, environment. And I got the complete polar opposite of that once I was 17, 18 years old and having to take care of my younger brother. And I just see it coming full circle with this, right? It's like that to me is what's available in this protocol, right? And there's so many different iterations of what it's supposed to look like, and there are these arguments going back and forth. So yeah, the dream like encompassed all that, and I literally experienced all that, And I just kind of sat back and I was like, all right, yeah, people aren't ready. They don't see how money connects to everything. It's energy. It's just a representation of our energy and exchanging, value back and forth. So it's like, yeah, man, you know me, going kind of deep with it. so
Keep going.
so yeah, brother, there's so much here. Like I can keep going. Maybe when we open up the floor, people have questions on this stuff, but even when I've been talking on the phone, like I had this lady go, "You have such a beautiful voice," and I was telling her, "Oh, you have no idea the peace that I have now and what I had to do to work to like, because I could feel it too when I'm speaking now. I can feel it when I'm projecting, and it's all like there's this beautiful peace that I have within all the chaos that happens on a daily basis. And I can feel it with, because I again started working again, trying to make some money here this year, and I hadn't tried that in like 2.5 years. So there's this learning curve of just getting myself reconvened or understanding the sales process, for example, and just getting in that energy of creating business. And I've shared this before. I've experienced, like, I know what it's like to make a lot of money like all at once, and not make any money for 2.5 years, right? Like there's an energy behind that. There's this practice behind that. There's an understanding of how things function and work, and again, going back to the energy behind all of this, brother. So yeah, man, and I shared with Bishop before we got on today. It was just like I do these social cleanses. Like I wasn't on any social media up until the Caspa Bitcoin debates last year. And I the only reason I got on X was because of those. The only reason I like, I guess, dox myself. You guys didn't necessarily know my name until maybe a couple months ago or whenever. And then obviously I changed my handle here. So that's been like an evolution, man. That's been an evolution because I'm all about living in my authenticity and in my sovereignty, right? So like me doxing myself, like using my real name, is a part of my evolution. And I understand where people are in theirs. Like I don't judge people for where they are and where they're coming from. But yeah, bro, like we're such in a beautiful time, but I also see the chaos and I see where people are stuck and why it's important that we continue to have these conversations. Because I've seen that the battling going back and forth. I'm not gonna even within Caspa, like I see it on X, and I'm like, yeah, we're on the surface battling shit that probably really doesn't matter at the end of the day. And that's why I love having these conversations, man, because um we come here and we bring what we bring, and we open up the floor, right? We have this conversation, we try to relate it to life, and I think that that's what people need. They're going to need it more so, like when take a look at technology and what's happening and how everything's being rolled out and where the energy and the focus is in right now, right? Like there's still the polarity between the right and the left, all that shit happening.
Sure.
There's all this stuff going on. So where are people going to go to like be with themselves and with their families and the people that they love? I see this show as like an iteration of that, of this platform for that. So and I feel a responsibility based on how fortunate I've been to like experience all these beautiful things in life and just bring that to people. So that goes with living at your level 10, which we're going to roll out at some point here in the near future. Um, that goes with just providing a safe space for people to come and just like really understand, like, I don't give a shit what what you don't know. Like, even if you're listening, like you're a part of the show. So I see so much of that, bro, and it's been my entire life, like from the time I was a kid. Like I'm talking 8, 9-year-old Juan living in California, Joe Montana winning those Super Bowls, and I'm like, I'm gonna be one of those quarterbacks one day, and then being told at 8, 9, like, no, you're an offensive lineman, and then obviously working my way into just having this vision and meeting myself where I'm at always, and working towards what I saw was there. So there's a formula to this, and it is possible. Um, People just have to again protect their energy, believe in their sovereignty, and understand that, like, there's options outside of what you're told. I think I'm living proof of that. Um, so beautiful times, bro. Beautiful, beautiful times.
No, that's awesome, dude. Absolutely awesome. And you're right. This show exists for the ability to operate in truth, to and your truth is, again, like, it shouts to Buffalo. He's in here, and we've gone hours with him on here, and we don't talk about everything we agree about. We have conversation to speak truth of heart, truth of brain, truth of knowledge, truth of self, and agree. That's why I always say agree to agree. I'll never agree to disagree. If I disagree with you, okay, but I can agree that your heart is in the right place, that your mind is in the right place. I agree with you that you feel comfortable that that is truth. You know, I might not agree with your truth, but I can agree with you that you feel that that is true to you. So that's where, that's how you take the divisiveness away from right and left, and gay and straight, and fucking Jewish
All
and
of it.
Catholic, like all of it, man. Like, again, I walked in ninth grade. I went to this Buddhist monastery on a field trip for social studies, and I'm like, this is beautiful. But in ninth grade, I'm also getting my confirmation as a Roman Catholic. And in my religion, it tells me every single person that's a part of this religion is going to hell. There's no way that's true. There's no way that's true. But if I live to my values, in which are taught to me, and they live to their values, which are taught to them, we both get to where our end zone is. We both get to be at our goal line, and that's beautiful. So I'm more than welcome to agree to them, and they can agree to agree with me. And that's where I think we do a great job here in allowing people to stay true. And that's why we present ourselves the way we do, so people can meet us where we're at, and hopefully they can see within themselves that this is where they're at too. And if not, it may come along later. Who knows? You've mentioned it a few times, mostly in private, I believe. I'm not sure you mentioned it here. Like, at minimum, this show is going to exist in a timeline where, when it becomes present 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and somebody in their search engine hits Kaspa, there's going to be 50, 100, 200 episodes of this show. It's like, what can Kaspa provide? And they listen to a show like this and they go, wait, Kaspa allows you to think freely because it's free. It truly is decentralized. So you can decentralize your mindset. It is sovereign. So you can sovereign your mindset.
Yeah.
That's what the conversation here is about. That's what this show is about every Monday, is the noun to an idea. And the truth of the idea that's happening within Live on the Kaspa Standard is, are you sovereign?
Right. Yeah. Because a lot of these things, a lot of these things are playing out. And we've spoken about this, like the culture of what the energy is at Kaspa, right? It's Kaspa is originated in the ethos Nakamoto consensus of what Bitcoin intended. And if you, again, people, because it's easier to be distracted today than ever in human history. We have so many things at our fingertips. I mean, like, most people are walking around with their cell phones, like staring at their phone, And I lived in a big ass city. I lived in Miami, and I still live in Miami. I'm in Texas now, but I'm in a small, like, suburb of it. And even noticing that, like, vibing and doing what I'm doing right now, and seeing just how the interactions, the difference between, like, being in a city where, like, there's so much going on, and it's like that in life. Like, it literally mirrors our life. These devices, the technology that we have, I do see the beautiful side of it, but they're also, we're still, like, in the infant stages of where technology is in general, and where humanity is. Just 100 years ago, people were saying Nikola Tesla was crazy for saying, like, direct, like, I look at the parallels between, like, Bitcoin and Kaspa, comparing the two differences, right? Like, literally 120 years ago, electricity in your house, are you crazy? You could electrocute yourself. So direct current was the iteration of what they thought electricity was gonna, but a direct current cannot light up an entire city. So the way our cities, and, like, like, how we can't imagine living without electricity. And Nikola Tesla was looked at as a lunatic and crazy. And 100 years later, now look at how we're living. So, but we quickly forget. And I think that's that's what we represent, and where we take the conversation. And I think that's the human element of this, right? So there's so many, I've said this several times. There's so many beautiful minds within Caspa, and people are still trying to figure out how to communicate that, and how to properly get the energy and the message out, right? So it's a beautiful opportunity. It's a beautiful opportunity to kind of sit with it, because I shared this. I don't see things as like the end all be all. Like, and I think part of this is my makeup, right? Like, I am a mixed race human. I get it all the time, especially being here. They're like, what are you? Because I'm like, I'm a big dude. I'm like 6'1", 200 pounds. So you're like, what? Your nose is like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm white, black, Portuguese, so it's pretty cool that I have all this in me. And I think it's pretty cool that I don't know my biological father yet, because maybe at some point I will. Um, but anyways, I think, like, my life and why I'm here, I've always asked the questions why. I'm deep like that. And there were times when that really frustrated me and all that. But I can tell you at 44, it's like, I don't need anything, man. Like, I'm really here. I'm like, I have everything that I need. I say it with my son. We've been saying it for 7 years. I am complete and I have everything within me that I need. And I know there's people that they hear that, they're like, what does that even fucking mean? Right. But it's like, yeah, you experience having some things and then you realize, oh, it's not about the things. Experience not having it. And you're like, oh shit, it was nice when I had the things. And there's a happy medium there. And at the end of the day, this is about a human experience. It's about like where are the best moments in my life? They are in moments of, like, it's never been just me in that moment. It's been like I've shared an energy with people. So it's been like when I was on a football team and I threw the game winning pass. Like, I had one of those moments, and I turned to the crowd and I can had my hands up, and like the crowd rush, like that energy at 17, experiencing that. I can say it as I say it, and I'm telling you about it. I'm living it, bro. Like, I know how to tap into that energy. For such a long time, it was like, oh, I'm chasing that. And that's what I see with a lot of people. We just had the NFL draft this past weekend.
Mm.
I didn't even realize the draft was up until it came up. Why do we romanticize these athletes or these entertainers and all that? It's because you see like a version of yourself, in that, or potentially experiencing it. And especially when you're younger, right? Like, when we're younger, we have these dreams, these goals, these desires. And then we're just in this system that literally fucking extracts every goddamn creative thing within us. And for most, it pulls it all out, bro. Most of us can't stay on that, because what do we have to do? Now our energy is going to be taken from the system, and you have to pay rent, you have to pay bills. So I get it. I understand where people are, but like, even if there's a slimmer of fucking hope of getting out of that, like, that's an energy that I'm, for the rest of my life, I want to work on. Like, how can you pull that out of every single human, bro? Like, that's what I want to be around for. And so I don't give a shit how much Kaspa I have, how much Bitcoin. Like, that's why we don't really talk about price here, because it is an energy thing. It's like, can we bring people to a conversation to get them layers into themselves, right? And if you're just in, I mean, like, who the fuck is doing this just for themselves? If you are, it's not going to last that long, because, like, look at the price action of these fucking assets over the past couple of years, bro. Like, you're gone. You're not here. So if you're here now and you're still like inquiring, like, and you're still like in the process, okay, like, there's depth there to you, you know. And we're going to be the leaders. We're going to be the leaders, because it's inevitable that it's going to happen, right? Like, once you understand the system, I've spoken on this, right? I've gone deep into this. I would I would even say it's fair for me to say, dude, I feel like I have a master's in macroeconomics and understanding the systems. Like, I can sit there in a conversation with the best of them, and I'll tell you, oh, you know what? I don't know that, but I do know when all this started. I can quote things: 1694, William Patterson, the Bank of England. Like, that's when and obviously the Federal Reserve in 1913, right? What happened in 1944 with Bretton Woods, Nixon in 1971. Like, I was a quarterback, bro. I can spit this shit out. Like, I know my facts. And it was like this when I played football. Like, I knew statistics. I knew what the fuck I needed to do. Tom Brady, if any of you guys know Tom Brady and his intensity, like, I was born on the same day as Tom Brady, 4 years later. I'm a little younger. But like, that, there's a thing there, whether you believe it or not. So, no, I'm kind of bragging or boasting about myself a little bit there, getting on my high horse. But let me bring
Truth.
myself back down.
You're speaking truth.
Yeah, but let
Speaking
me
truth.
bring myself. Like again, so to relate it, it's like I say this a lot, right? I've said it to you. I do see people as versions of me, right? So I want, Jim Carrey is famous for saying this, and it's really where I am and what I believe. Like I'm not just saying this, but he said, I once thought I was, a man experiencing the world. I now know that I'm the world experiencing a man. And that was confusing to me for a really long time. So I went deep until it made some sense, bro. So I know it's what people need because like, bro, like speaking on technology and like what's happening within Caspa, what's happening with AI. I just, like how long have do you use Chat GPT or any of these,
Every once in a
LLMs?
while, every once in a
Every
while,
once in a while.
every once in a while, I use Grok, and that's it. I've used
Okay,
Pilot for some visuals, but like I created
that's
our
something.
logo with Copilot.
Got you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just even look at how we put the show together and like what we're doing, and it's like we're not spending that much time on this, right? Like we're doing it once a week.
Yeah.
And like for example, the clips have been pretty popular on like YouTube, and a lot of people are, oh, this is pretty cool that we're doing those clips, kind of highlighting some of the things that are going on. Like that's all AI. I'm not spending fucking hours on the computer like figuring that out. And I've run businesses. I've launched businesses. I've scaled businesses. These things that are happening, like they would take me many people and a lot more time to do in the past, right? And outside of Caspa, like I'm building some shit, and it is unbelievable in just 2 years, like where we are, and those things are only going to accelerate. Okay, now the lens that I see technology through is taking a look at what technology is meant to do. Technology is meant to make our lives easier and do things that we don't really want to do anyways. So if we just go back to the industrial age, when the farmers and people are like, oh my god, these automated systems are going to take away our jobs, like that was the energy. And that's essentially, if you study some history, that's what ends up happening. Technology ends up making our lives easier and easier, and over time that technology is meant to be deflationary. And just think of it like, I'm going to try to simplify this. Think of it in an energy standpoint, right? So there were people talking 100 years ago, oh, by 2026, which we're in now, people are going to be working 10, 15-hour weeks, because as productivity increases and that spreads to the masses, right? We have to work less and less on, on the money, right? Um, we have to work less and less on like having money and having that money inflated away and take and our purchasing power taken from us. Okay.
Right.
So that's what these protocols represent. They represent like a new form of energy preservation. But to the outside looking in, coming from that system, it's like, oh, it's volatile. Caspa's 3 cents, but it was at 20, right? And I get that perspective, and it's kind of hard to bridge that gap if like that's where you're at, right? But um we vote with where we put our time and energy. Okay, so the money and where it trickles right now is in these big institutions, these influencers, these people that can like move mountains with the propaganda that they can throw out. So I think at times we got to be like careful with what we say, and how we say it and shit like that. But like we've had this extractive system, and it's just really now over the past, we'll call it, the past like 20, 30 years, where like people are starting to talk about more of these things, and we have access to this information. I mentioned on a show before, like you and I have access that the president of the United States did not have access to just 20 years ago,
Yeah.
right? So that in itself is, a signal and showing you where technology is trying to take us. It's trying to make our lives easier. So that's like, again, that's the positive effects of technology. But like anything in excess and not understood can be the detriment of you, right? And we see examples of that too. So like there's a polarity here, right? Like there's a good side and a bad side to it, right? But I do think that we were given free will for a reason to be able to choose in that. And, obviously in some parts of the world, we have a little bit more freedoms than they do in other parts. And that's real. That absolutely is real. Um, but to know, like, again, to have, again, for me, like, call it my green pill, orange pill moment, whatever you want to call it. But for me, like, going from a family where it was like I was in this box on how I had to operate, and then like getting my foster family, and then like living the way I've lived the past 25 years. This is just an iteration of what humanity needs to scale itself and to get to a place where like we can all be better with each other, right? And at the end of the day, the people that we're the ones that decide like how this is going to play out. So I get to experience, yeah, I've said this before, I hope the world adopts these things and gets to it, but regardless, like me and my family, we're living this. We got Rosario on here living in that compound. We got people in here that are like that. Like Buffalo speaks on that all the time.
Yep.
So you don't have to wait for like the masses to adopt this. Like you can really take iterations of this and apply it to your life. You've spoken to that on like the sovereignty that you've developed mentally, like just going about your day to day. So that's how I think, little by little, because that's how it's going to be. It's little by little. It starts with you. It starts with your family. Then from there, that spreads. Desire plus non-resistance too, right? Like that plays a part of it, right? Like what do you want for the world? What's like in your heart and you want for people? You got to be the example of that, in order for that to spread even just around you, and then eventually get outside of that. So, yeah, man. Obviously, a lot there in how I see it.
No, it's spot on, man. It's spot on. And having the ability to, again, like I mentioned, like meet yourself where you're at, you can then, as I've mentioned, the level 10 of it all, you can see where your level 10 exists, and you might not always feel like you can be there because of these things that you said. It's the job that you're attached to, it's the resistance that shows up. Are you, because I had mentioned to you offline about, Gypsy last week being a resistance, and you were letting me know that like actually being within that is resisting the resistance. Like you stay in that moment and you're now there for your family this way.
Mhm.
That is now a lack of resistance. Allowing that moment to allowing the resistance to sit in would be me not having the ability to show up for my family. And that's the difference between finding where you can exist within your levels. And to me, again, I didn't see that without, and look, now to an idea, right? Within Kaspa is where I found out what sovereignty looks like, what decentralization looks like, where the non-need to, I mean, you guys heard it in the first couple episodes, how I was like getting depressed, not finding a job, and
Mhm.
then being able to pull myself out of that system. I have options, again, you guys heard I own rental properties, and being able to try to learn that system that is more sovereign than going over to whatever location to try to get a job. Like that's, a big difference there. And I could have done that on my own without finding Casper. But nouns to ideas,
Mhm.
and Caspa having that locked in. Sovereignty is locked in. We talked with Odie last week about the Frost card, right? Not only is it locking in sovereignty, but it's doing sovereignty with security. So you can make a move like that and also feel safe, So that's where it's hard for us as a society, specifically in America, to take a chance on that sovereignty and feel safe at the same time. That's really hard. I think about Rosario's compound as you were talking, and I'm like, yeah, if you're raising chickens and I'm farming corn, if you wanted a bushel of corn, you give me 100 cash. How much is that worth? One bushel of corn. How much is
Yeah.
that worth? 100 cash. Well, how much is that worth? A bushel of corn. Well, how much is that
Yeah.
worth? 100 cash. It has nothing
Yeah.
to do with any nominal value because we then
Right.
create an ecosystem that is sovereign from every system. How many
Yeah,
chicken?
man.
How much Kaspa per chicken? 40. Okay, why? Because it's 40 Kas per chicken. That's why. Not because
Yeah.
Kaspa's $1 and now a chicken costs $40. No, that's too much. Sovereignty, decentralization, this
Yeah.
independence that you can actually have through these ideas. So yes, how much is one chicken? 40 Kas. Well, how much is that? One chicken. Well, how much is that? 40 Kas. That's it. That's it.
Bro, I love that breakdown because it's so simple, right? But it's like we're so far removed from exchanging like that, right?
Yes.
But that's really what we all want,
But that's
right?
the energy exchange, right?
But
Your
that is,
energy
yeah,
is
that is
raising chickens, and I have an exchange denomination called Kaspa that can be medium exchange, right? And
correct.
that's the energy exchange.
Yeah,
If I had the bushel of corn ready, then maybe I can get 2 or 3 chickens for a bushel of corn. But it's not ready yet. Can I give you an energy exchange in the meantime? Yeah, 40
yeah,
K. Here you go. And
and
that's
that's
yeah,
all that money is supposed to represent, right? So
yes.
at its foundation, and that's the education. That's the education where I think a lot of people don't necessarily go to because they get caught up in like the distractions.
Yep.
So like there's so much programming out here, bro. There's so many things that like take you away from your sovereignty, that take you away from these very basic necessities. Like we actually don't need much. We don't need much in terms of being able to survive. But we obviously have goals, desires, dreams, and all that. You know, and again, I'm going to go back to Jim Carrey's thing. It's like I wish, I wish he said this too. He's like, I wish people could experience what it's like to have it all, because you realize like you never really wanted all the things to begin with. You want the energy, and he puts humor on it, but it's like just put your order out to the universe and then freaking show up where you're supposed to show up. And like he gave a speech one time, and I remember the joke was something. And if the things haven't happened for you, it's because the universe is busy fulfilling my order. But it really is the desire plus non-resistance equals desired result. So, and that can be applied everywhere. And that's one of the things, I'll talk a little bit about it, but like Bishop and I have this idea and concept of bringing this some structure and being able to help people get to their level 10. Like we really do see an opportunity there to serve not just the Kaspa community, but humanity in general. And I've been a coach, a leader most of my life, so I see that very aligned in terms of being able to provide that for people. So these concepts, like it is about like structuring it and having it applied and having it available to people. So there's we'll put something together and have that come out, and when appropriate, let people know about that. But yeah, dude, it's it is pretty simple, like what we all need and want. And it does come down to like the energy behind everything that we do. Everything that we do, man.
Yeah, I tell you, I actually meant to. I'm not sure if you saw the tweet, but remember a couple months ago, I tweeted out, "Man, if I had $1 million, I think I would only put $40,000 into Kaspa." And then,
Yeah.
well, VJ, in his brilliance, put out a tweet. If I had $1 million, this is how I would invest it, and he did a nice breakdown, right? And I tagged it with, if I had $1 million, I'd put 500,000 in Kaspa, take 500,000, and go move to Rosario's Island and live out the rest of my 20 years getting this thing to work. Because what else do you need, right? Like again,
Yeah.
I could sell all my properties and start anew. And what more than $500,000 do you need on an island where shouts to Rosario is inviting us to come be? Right. And you're there.
Yeah.
And now you can use that 500 to help stimulate what's going on over there. And then eventually, let's say that 500 runs out in 15 years. If you spend 50 a year, that's 10 years. So let's say it runs out in 10 years. Okay. Where's Kaspa in 10 years? Still sovereign, still decentralized.
Yep.
So like that's what I would do. So that's my new version of $1 million. I wouldn't even
Yeah,
worry
dude.
about the other stuff. Like it's how sovereign can you be for that? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. There's so many things like that come to the forefront. Again, going back to I think when you have and you experience, and I'm speaking from experience, right? I've been able to travel, do a lot of things. I'll share one of my bucket list items is, I'm a huge football guy. So I want to go to all NFL stadiums. I've been to 21 of them. Um, you obviously have to have some resources to be able to do that. But the thing at the end of the day, what is that about? It's like, yeah, maybe I do have a couple, like, I'll bring what's it, like, a little souvenir, right, from every little thing, but it's not much. What I remember is, like, when I look at the pictures that I've taken when I've been there, and I go to the energy of it, right? So that's really all we want. Is just people don't understand that yet until they actually, achieve it. But, like, you can't take any of this shit with you, like, once you're gone. So, like, that detachment from, like, stuff, things, I think is an important element to, like, really experience your life at the fullest, right? And at the end of the day, to think of all the good moments in your life, they don't happen, like, with you by yourself, right? They happen, with people that you love, whether it's friendships, like your partner, whatever the case may be. So, like, that's been, like, a major lesson for me. And I've never really given a shit about things, so I think I've benefited from that. So it was really easy to detail. Like, remember when I was putting everything in storage and you're like, you got 4 storage units. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Eventually I have one now. And bro, there's when I go back to Miami, one of the missions is, like, to sell everything or give everything away. Like, there isn't, I thought about this. There's a handful of things that I want, like little mementos, but nothing that, like, that I'm really, like, there's a couple little things, right? Like,
Yeah.
that I'll keep with me, but that's freeing in itself, right? To be able to not attach yourself to things like that, bro. It's just, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing, no doubt.
No, yeah, I completely agree. If you want to get rid of that PS5 and those Caspa miners, let me know. I got you.
No, the Kaspa miners are coming here. Yeah, yeah. I'm probably gonna do a road trip. Because my car and everything's still over there in Florida. My son gets out of school next month. Um, I'll have a teenager this weekend, brother. His birthday's
Nice,
this weekend.
nice. Happy
Um,
birthday, Julian.
yeah, I appreciate that. So we've been doing the countdown. So I'll be with him this weekend.
Nice.
Um, but he loves road trips. We would do them, like, when we go up to, like, he's not a big football fan.
Right.
But from Miami to Tampa, that's a 4-hour drive. So he's like, oh, can we? So I had the means to, like, get ticket. Like, flights aren't that expensive. But he's like, can we drive? I like doing the road trips. I'm like, all right. So that's what we would typically do. So he's excited about this one. I'm
That's
like, what
awesome.
about a road trip from Florida to Texas? So, like, yeah, maybe we stop in a couple places, meet some Caspians along the way. I don't know, maybe announce it when that happens. Um, but yeah, bro, I can't wait to. Oh, he, like, wants to work out and everything now. I'm
Uh-oh.
like, okay. I'm like, all right. He already does yoga with me, so it's like, okay, cool. I got a little partner now, man. That's what I'm talking about. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna do some deadlifts, some squats. We're gonna get in there. Yeah,
Nice.
we're gonna put in some work this summer. That's dude. Every summer when I was, like, from 14 to 22 was, like, exponential growth in terms of, like, my physical. So I'm excited for that because he's a big kid, man. He's a big kid. Or already has bigger hands, bigger feet than me. So I'm looking forward this summer. We're gonna train. We're gonna train like I did when I was back in the day.
Proof of
But we're
work.
gonna freaking put in some battle, bro. Hell yeah. It's the off season. It's the off season.
Nah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, shit, I think that's enough about us. What do you think?
I think so too, bro. We had I'm gonna invite my man Lavendi requested earlier.
Oh, shouts to Lavendi. I'm sure he'll announce it, but we can say
Dude,
it.
he just sent me. I wonder if he's gonna talk about this, but he asked me to send him a picture. I don't know if I could post it.
Episode
Um,
100 for them today.
oh, it is right. Yeah, yeah. Oh shit, I gotta be on there with them too to celebrate that. Yeah, yeah. So just, I went ahead and sent a couple of you guys, if you want to come up and jump in the conversation here with us. Gotten it going here a little bit. Okay, yeah, we got Lavendi up. What's up, brother?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? How we doing?
What's up, Andy? Congratulations on 100 episodes later today.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
man. You know, it's mad. 100 weeks,
What
man.
that and you guys haven't missed a week, man. Like you guys
No,
have been there every single
yeah.
week, right?
Yeah, regardless whether Chris has been on holiday, I've been on holiday, we've stayed consistent. It's been quite mad, actually.
Hell yeah, man. That's beautiful. Congrats, brother. That's a feat right there.
Thanks, man.
All through the turbulence and all, right? Through all the
Yeah, everything. Like,
craziness.
the last, how long is it? How long is it? Almost 2 years. So we're a few
Yeah.
weeks away from 2
Yeah.
years.
Beautiful, brother.
Awesome.
That's been great. But yeah, you can definitely talk about the GIF. I don't know if you've tapped into the link I sent you, but that's the
Okay,
animation.
I do see the link here. Let me see if I can somehow. Oh,
It's
no.
completely safe. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm not gonna hack you.
Oh nah.
Yeah, you're now in my Kaspa GIF collection that I've been working on the last week or so.
Oh, that's pretty dope. Is there any way to share this? Like,
Yeah, I mean, through the link you can copy paste it individually. If you copy paste the link direct into Discord, then it will show as a normal GIF. I think the same with Telegram, if I'm not mistaken, on WhatsApp. But it's pretty much searchable as well across like every single social's GIF panel.
okay.
But yeah, I've been adding so many into it, like different communities for the last few weeks, and they've gathered like 25,000 uses and shares. It's insane in that time.
That's awesome.
It's insane, man. Yeah, man. I don't know, but people love to use GIFs, so fuck it, man. Let me make a lot of Kaspa GIFs this time next year. People may be using them without even knowing where they're from, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. No, this is pretty cool. Yeah. So I mean, I copied the link. See if I can figure out how to share this. But dude, it's pretty dope, Bishop. It's like me and a Casper, a selfie that I don't think I put out. But or no, somebody took a picture of me. It was like when I was training throwing the football, and I had a Kaspa experience shirt on. And he
Nice.
made it come to life. So yeah,
And
this is pretty awesome, Lindy.
If you put it in the comments of the spaces, I can probably pull it up on the live feed.
Okay.
'Cause if I share another screen, I'll lose the
Lavendi, if I copy this and paste it, will it show up?
On X, I think it may need a bit more. You might have to tap into the link to see it on X, but it works normally on Discord. I know for a fact. If you copy paste the link, I'm not sure with X. I've copied and pasted it in DMs and it doesn't show. It just takes you to the link, right?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it might be the same. I'm not sure.
All right. Well, I'll put it in the comments. And Bishop, if you click on it and see if it pops up.
Chip, send me a picture as well, man. Have you got any Kaspa merch, by the way, that you've worn, and then you got a picture?
I don't have any Kaspa merch. I need some.
We gotta get you a shirt, and like you gotta get one of these, Bishop.
Yeah, 100%.
What size are you, Bishop? I have
2X.
2X, okay.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let me go to. Come on, where'd it go? Oh, my goodness, I'm working on it.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, if you click, it's not going to show. If you click the link, it pops up.
Why can't I get to?
Yeah, it's pretty dope, man. What's on tap for you guys on the show today?
We've got a handful of people joining, and some possibly coming in to say hi as well. Maybe we'll be saying hi to Kaspa Silva, as well as maybe Junie and Itzio. But for sure, we've got Jack, Elliot, Mia, and Wolfie's coming through, hearing from them.
Nice. Oh, there we go. Look at that shit.
Okay.
We got it on the. If you're on the YouTube feed, you can see. It's pretty dope. That's pretty dope, man. I love that.
Nice. A little bit more handsome than you.
I think so too. Yeah, I'm like, is that really me?
He charmed you up a bit.
I think so, bro. I think so. Beard a little bit more trimmed down too.
He's got the gray in there though. That's awesome.
As we're here, let me see if I can do your PFP.
Oh, that's smooth, man.
That's a picture. I was training with a couple NFL guys, like throwing them routes, and I that day too, I had somebody come up to me and be like, do you play on Sundays?"
Nice. That had to feel good.
Oh, dude, stroke the ego, please. You know, like his kid came up and a kid came up and he's like, "Oh, do you play?" And then his dad's like, "You look like are you do you play on Sundays?" And I'm like, "Nah, I played 25 years ago, man. 44." He's like, "No way." I love telling people how old I am
Oh,
when
dude.
I'm out there doing shit, dude, because they're like, "No way." I do have a few grays coming in, but I
I
don't
got
paint the I don't paint the beard or anything in here, bro. Like, you know, they're still not coming in. It's because I try to stay young, dude. It's
yeah, I
that
got
inner
30.
peace.
I
It's
got
that inner
31 the
peace
other day.
coming through. Yeah,
Yeah, somebody gave me 31 the other day. That's 10 years
hell
younger,
yeah. That's you living at your level 10. That's what that is.
man.
They feel that energy, bro.
Buffalo headed over to YouTube. Shots. Looking sharp, bro. We might have to leave it just like this. Leave that GIF up like that. You kidding me?
All right.
We can put it back. You didn't sound too enthused. It's your GIF.
I just feel like the spotlight's there. Like it's already.
Is that better? Does that feel better?
Now you tell me. What do the people want? Throw it in
I
the
think
comments. Let us know what you want.
this looks good though. This is good. I like it like this. Oh boy.
Yeah, Juan, I've got you a new PFP if you choose to take it. Let's have a look. If I can
Okay.
see.
Oh,
Tell me what you think of this.
Oh, look at that. Okay. That could, yeah. It's my profile pic in the Lavendi energy. Dope.
Nice.
Yeah, I might have to switch that up for a bit.
I do have to change mine. The photo I have isn't on this computer, so I haven't changed it yet. But
No.
nah, I'm going to. You keep telling me to stop having Bishop is right. It makes me seem condescending.
It's just like I just think you've evolved past that.
True. It's true. I've evolved past the Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast, and I refuse to get rid of TW Takes podcast. You know.
Hey, that whatever. That's on your, you know,
Yeah.
everything's on your time, bro. Like don't do
Yeah.
it because people are telling you to. You do it when it's your time. You know.
That's true.
Otherwise, you're gonna resent it.
I
Like,
don't
it's
want
not
to do
really
that.
you.
I don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
No.
Yeah.
No. So it should only do that shit when you want to do it.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm a solidarity person though. You know what I mean? And I'm seeing this evolution with you and you're harnessing your level 10 in this way that like even this morning when you sent me that voice note about, you know, what you were doing with socials, and I'm like, yeah, that's such an evolution. Like for me, what helped me is I charge my phone upstairs now and I sleep downstairs. So I detach from my phone. But what I realized it was I'm not going on X as much because I'm not scrolling at night. So I'm not looking for it in the morning either. So it's just for me, it's time away from the phone. It's not necessarily I have to get rid of the apps or not have this access or anything like that. I found that to be the case, which is weird, you know, because if I have my phone, I'm going to find something to do with it, you know?
Right. But there's like this there. I mean, I'm sure everybody on here can relate to this, right? It's like think about what that's doing to you, and there is this right. There's these dopamine hits that we get
Mm,
having our phone and going to it, but we've gotten to a point where it's such a habit, and it's taking you away from other things. Like I don't, if you're there responding to everything like immediately, you're not very present to like what's in front of you. You know, so
yeah.
you know, I'm not saying I'm not guilty as charged, and I don't look at it as a right or a wrong thing, but just try it out. Like, you know, what Bishop is speaking to, and I shared a little bit earlier, you know, like I do a social cleanse every single year. And I actually was off of socials for almost 2 years. Right when my business shut down in 2023, like right after that. And you know, I'm pretty well connected in Miami, but like I mean, I don't encourage people to do this, but like the benefits that came from it, like I don't think I'm in the community like this or this happens if I didn't do this. But I went through like I had Facebook from the time I was in because Facebook came out what in '04. I got it in 06, like right after I graduated from college. So I had Facebook, and I had like, whatever, a lot of connections, like maybe 500 plus or something like that. But I turned that into, I just followed like people that were, like how, were you around with MySpace where you had like your top 8?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just want to try this and like focus my energy on the people that actually, are in my life. Not that I wanted to eliminate people, but I'm like, all right, let me do that. So that's what I did with Facebook. And then on Instagram, I literally just like unfollowed everybody. And what that did for me is it brought the people that I am close to and tight with, like it brought them closer, right? Because I actually had to pick up the phone and talk to them or actually text them. So I noticed like my friendships becoming like a lot more genuine, real, and stronger. So like doing that cleanse, and then now I'm on Instagram, but the only people I follow on Instagram, or the only people that follow me, are people that I've met in real life. So it's like 80 it's like I got it back up to like 80 followers, because I don't give a shit about that, right? Like there is this energy there's you can buy followers and shit like that. There's a lot of accounts like that. There's a lot of accounts like that on X. But there's an energy component to that people they don't understand. Like you're tapping into this energy and just fucking like putting it out there like that. Like when it comes from a place of like, oh, let me see how many followers I have. And I remember being in that energy for a really fucking long time. So anyways, I tried that. And I was talking to Bishop about how good it feels like when you disconnect. So something as small as like putting your phone in another room, so you're not like just reaching over and doom scrolling, right? You end up becoming more present. You end up living more in your level 10 and being more present to whatever's in front of you. So. And then again, the relationships, that's the biggest thing that I've noticed is, that's why I love in-person events, bro. Like that's why I went to the Kaspa experience in London. That's why, and I'm fortunate, I've had the resources to be able to do that. But that's why they're going to be important within this community moving forward. I saw Gonzo put up a post about like, let's get because let's speak about it. Like the Bitcoin conference is coming up. I'm selling 2 tickets, by the way, for way less than what they have at price for. It's like $699 for a general admission ticket. I'll sell it for way less than that. So if anybody's hearing this or know anybody that's going or looking for tickets, let me know. I got 2 of them. So yeah.
We got Buffalo up as the speaker.
We do?
You didn't see that? I thought you saw that and you were just trampling over him.
Yeah, man, I trample because I trample when the buffalo is trying to come at me. What's up, Buffalo? Welcome to the stage, brother.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good morning, brother.
What's up, bro?
Oh, not too much. Just realized I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna be late. So I finished my trading this morning and I got on a little early and I was like, sweet, okay, I didn't miss it. Because sometimes I'll come in a little bit late, depending on how busy my morning is. So it's nice to be able to actually catch the show from the start.
Appreciate that. Yeah, there's a couple times when we're signing off and I see you pop on and I'm like, damn, we missed them today.
Yeah. No, it hit 9 o'clock and I was like a little after 9 and I'm like, wait a minute, it's Monday. And I wasn't getting any notifications. So I was wondering what the hell was up with that. So I jumped on and like, they got to be on, right? So I checked and I saw you guys were on. So I wanted to jump on and give my support.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother.
Always. Yeah.
Anything on your mind this week?
Oh man, it's been a wild week. I got all things. I got all the things, bro. But I'll keep them kind of tight. So I repost. I don't really post very many things that don't have to do with Kaspa, but this bill that was passing that I believe has something to do with sovereignty. So I'll make the parallel here about 2026 of how they are implementing visual devices in new vehicles to be able to shut your car off if they don't like what they see. And that kind of like irked me because I didn't think that was going to pass. So we'll see if it gets implemented, but it's supposed to be to deter drunk driving so they can visually look at you and have the AI make a decision if you are impaired. And this is the guise or what they're trying to say. So then they'll be able to have a a lockout in your vehicle. So I'm curious to see how this is going to go, but that kind of bothers me. Also, it could
Is
probably
that local or federal?
that's federal
Wow.
in America.
Yeah.
To clarify.
I figured. Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, they can use it for guys as safety. I mean, that's how the Patriot Act got passed. But we're not stupid. We see what they're trying to do. So either it gets passed and then all the car makers start losing a lot of money, or they start doing buybacks with older vehicles to get the freedom out of our hands. And it's just kind of a loss of sovereignty. And it kind of pushed me towards how important this tech with Kaspa is, because it's not going to stop there. It's going to try, I mean, this is going to be infiltrating our entire lives. Not to be a conspiracy theorist, I view myself as a conspiracy realist, but it's just another notch on the belt of the powers that be to try and take sovereignty from us. So I just think that Kaspa is going to be more and more important as time goes on, and it makes me thankful, even though I know Kaspa is not a privacy coin, but the tech is there for us to have privacy, which the tech is there for privacy when it comes to credit cards and in other forms, right, in other ways of transferring energy. So that's kind of what I was thinking on this morning, and kind of reading up on, and yeah, just emboldens me to know that having a decentralized form of payment of currency, how important that is, and to be able to have, hopefully next year by this time we're 100 BPS and we've got DAG night out. Then we'll actually have eProgs going, and then we'll have our own decentralized ecosystem, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, you're right. It's coming, and I think even at the impetus of this show, when Juan and I started, there was some fantasizing about what Kaspa is doing right now. Because even when I was like, well, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? Juan's like, what's it doing right now? So we're diving into Casilla messaging and going live on VBOR and these things, and what we find out is infrastructure wise, Kaspa's fun to play with, and a lot of these guys are playing with it and building some cool shit. But to your point, it hasn't given true weight to an ecosystem that we can sovereignly take care of ourselves and each other, right? We can see the building blocks, though, that it's gonna get there, and everything Rory's building for industry and things like that, but it's gonna take a bit. But I agree with you. Odie was on here last week talking about how he basically shut me down when I was like, well, Kaspa's not a store of value, because I'm thinking Kaspa's not Bitcoin, right? And he's like, no, Kaspa is store of value, but it's also medium of exchange. It's also peer-to-peer cash. Like we can sovereignly trust our assets to be here in this space. So to Buffalo's point, as we're okay there, we now come out of it to make those decisions. What car are we going to buy? Is this where classic motors are now into play, right? Everybody's gonna be driving fucking, 70s, motor muscle cars because there's no cameras on them, right? Like I can see that happening, and then you will be able to continue to make those decisions through our sovereignty base, which would be, in this case, Kaspa. We now reach out of that to make these decisions that don't take us out of sovereignty.
Right. Yeah, man. I think Buffalo bringing up that example, ties into, I talked about it earlier. Like, what are these the technologies are supposed to be here to serve us and to help us. But the way our systems are set up, like in central entities, like it can be used against us. Right. So I think what these technologies that specifically are designed around decentralization and giving us back our sovereignty, now that's why these protocols are so important, right? And shout out like Silver, Casa, you guys should check it out. I haven't finished listening to it all, but he had Joel Valenzuela, I think is his name, but he's like a Dash guy. He's been in the space for quite some time, and I remember learning about him like as I dove into hijacking Bitcoin and found out about Roger Ver and all that. that's why I think it's important that we don't just stay in our echo chambers and really understand that these technologies need to evolve. Like, yeah, we're all here because we agree, majority of us, like, hey, Caspa's different. Like, there's something different here in terms of its foundation and how it is building out in the culture, and we speak on that. But in general, Buffalo said it, you said it, right? The sovereignty aspect of this, and people having more of an awareness around what that means for you. Bishop, you speak on the mental aspect of it, and Buffalo is bringing up an example of where that can be taken. Like, yeah, it benefits us if it prevents, like a drunk from getting behind the wheel. Like, there are some benefits from that, but what do we compromise? Like, what's the trade off from there, right? And at the end of the day, and this is where I think a lot of people miss it, like, that you want to point the finger and be like, oh, it's out there, they're doing that. But ultimately, how can you peaceful, like, that's how I look at these protocols. I'm peacefully exiting the system, right? Like, the next frontier, 100 years ago or so, people could go out west, like when the gold rush happened and all that in the 1800s, there was land where I can take, this country was created like that. The United States, that's where we are, right? People came here because they wanted their sovereignty. And like, so what's the next thing? Where are people that see that, and how it's probably never going to stop? There's always going to be a chunk of the population that's just like in the matrix and not even aware of that, because that's what it is. There isn't an awareness around it. So it's like, where are those of us that are looking to continue to evolve humanity, for us to survive? It's the digital frontier, and that's what Kaspa represents. That's what a portion of Bitcoin represents. We just got to be real about what things actually are, how they can be used today. And obviously, again, I talked about it just now, right, where it's like, I'm already there in a component of it, but we also have to exist outside of the system. And for me, I am in a place where it's like, I'm peacefully exiting the system, and I'll speak on that. I have nothing to hide, because I got to pay taxes, like, no matter where I am, right? Or rent, whatever, so there's a way to do this and not have to fucking scream from the mountaintops, like some of these, I'll call them dumbasses, that go like, you guys are retards, or like using that type of language. And I know some of us use it here. So I'm not, I'm not trying to bash you for it, but just giving you a different perspective, right? It's just like, because I like to have fun with that with my boys. You ever seen The Office?
Some of it. I haven't
Yeah,
watched.
So like, whenever I hear people call each other the R word, retards, I think of, there's a scene in The Office where he goes, "It's not cool," or what does he say? I'm gonna butcher this. Do you know what scene I'm talking about? No.
No. I've literally seen maybe 2 episodes.
You've seen 2 episodes?
Yeah,
That's one of my favorite.
Yeah.
The Office is one of my favorite shows of all time, brother. Yeah, like, he has a scene in there where it's like, you don't call retarded people. That's what it is. You don't call retarded people retards. That's bad taste. You call your friends retarded when they're being retards. So
I remember that. Yep, classic.
you know what I'm talking about? Buffalo. So whenever I hear people say that, I just go to there, talking about, like, me, the pastor, the Buddha, seeing everybody as a reflection of myself. I'm like, oh, these people don't know that they need each other, and they're just fucking bashing each other back and forth. But words are powerful, man. So, some people have a strong energy behind using that in a way that's, like, obviously derogatory and all that. But
well, I wanted
to. It is about sovereignty, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I wanted to touch on what you had said. The difference of something that you brought up. Echo chamber and ecosystem sound very similar, but they're completely different. And you had mentioned it. An ecosystem needs the technology, but it needs it to evolve. An ecosystem is, you build it. Let's say you build a community and it relies on communication. And our form of communication is yelling across the land, right? And then it evolves to paper cups with a string, right? And then we get wall phones with lines. And then we get cell phones. But an echo chamber is saying that the BlackBerry is the best thing that's ever going to exist when the smartphone is right around the corner. That's an echo chamber. And you can't sit in an echo chamber refusing to evolve because what you found you think is the greatest. And you might be right, but you have to touch outside of the echo chamber to improve your ecosystem. And I think that's what, again, what Kaspa has found. And I'm waiting for the day where we can sit here and agree that we found something that is incredibly similar to Kaspa and does this thing better, or that thing better, or this thing different. Because when it does, we can have a real conversation of what we're doing here within this ecosystem, different than, you know, polishing our trophies, right? Like, because right now we're specifically me and you, Juan, we are trying to create something besides an echo chamber inside of this ecosystem. We're trying to broaden the conversation beyond, because what we literally could do on this show is talk about how dope Kaspa is the whole time, and keep the idea stuck to the noun, because it's fucking true. It is true, right? But looking at it being beyond the noun and it being the idea, because that is what's important, because you've experienced it, we've experienced it, most people on the panel have experienced it. When the noun is taken away, no matter what that noun is, could be your car, your house, your job, whatever, does the idea of who you are still exist? And that's ecosystem. That is ecosystem. So that's what we're doing with Live on the Kaspa Standard, and that's what we're going to continue to do. It just so happens that the biggest bulk of truth right now is that Kaspa, as Juan would say, is there, but to what I say, can get there. The building blocks are there. As Buffalo mentioned, 100 blocks per second, Dagnite, all of these things, you know, we talked about Takata last week. You know, when covenants really come in and you can harness that security, basically create a life insurance policy, right? You can put all your Kaspa into this covenants, and you now have a life insurance policy. You attach your inherited address to whoever you want your beneficiary to be, and bang, all your Kaspa gets left to that address, or it's a backup address. So if the bank fails, you know, bang, here it is. If you get locked out like Bert did for a little bit, like, oh, by the way, it's all going to go there in 6 months. Just be patient. You'll be fine. Because it's not, you know what I mean? Like, having that sense of security within Kaspa, fucking let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. You know, and that's where it's like, when, you know, again, when the noun materializes fully to what this idea is about, it's going to be really fucking cool, and we're going to be here talking about it, you know? But right now, the idea is more ever present than the noun is. So that's what we'll talk about.
Yeah, man. And again, I think that the foundation of what we're building this on, like, that is a discovery in itself. That, again, think of anything that you build, like, the foundation needs to be strong, right? So that right there in itself is huge. And the more that foundation can be the saving grace, the security per se, or, you know, what we can do to truly bring forth truth, right? And just more discovery, that's just going to lead to beautiful things in our evolution, you know, as a race, as people, right? So that's where I see this. You know, I share so much about how this is it's an energy component thing. Like, I see how money is that's all it is in its simplest form. And so spending some time here and having these conversations and talking about it, you know, like you talked about earlier, you know, maybe the crowds aren't as large, but like, the people are going to come when what they're doing fails for them, like you say. I love that you say that, because it's true. It's just like, people have to experience pain in order to look outside of themselves, you know? So unfortunately, I do think that we need to experience, like, you know, the masses need to feel some freaking pain on a level that it's like, well, what the fuck is going on? And those of us that are like, okay, I feel the pain a little bit, I don't like this, because that's where I think I've been most of my life. It's like, I don't, hold on, what? Let me go find out for myself. You know, and then the more you dig in, you're like, oh shit, they're not even talking about this yet. You know, I think that's where we are. So by the time everybody's talking about it, it's like, okay, you're a little late, you know. So, but if we can get more people to start looking deeper, you know, when there's a little bit of pain, then you can find a solution for yourself within that, you know, like just dig it in. Then you get to your truth, man. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
that's a component of all this.
And that's where it came from, you know, crypto failing for me and the stock market failing for me. And I was like, well, how can I continue to find something to, again, I didn't know I was searching for sovereignty. It wasn't until I heard the term and understood what it truly meant. Did that harness, but I know that's what I ended up looking for. Like, how do I sovereignly save my money in a way that I can trust that what I'm putting it in is what it's actually backed by, right? I mean, look, Buffalo does his trading, right? And most of the stock market is based on anticipation, right? Like a company will have a positive earnings call, but if it's not as positive as projected, the stock will go down. But their performance was actually positive. And it's like, so what do you trust? Do you trust? So you have, go ahead, Buffalo. Did I say that wrong?
No. You're not wrong. Just for trading, I trade futures. Just to clarify this, and then I'm going to make another point. So it doesn't matter what the stock market does. If it goes up or if it goes down, I make money because of how because my edge, they call it an edge. So it's because of my strategy, right? So if it goes down, you know, you short it. If it goes up, you long it, right? But you know, that's just another insulation on top of the four other jobs that I have, right? So the interesting thing, I wanted to make this point right now because Juan was speaking to we're going to need to feel this pain for there to be a change, which I mean is true in all of humanity. Just we need to feel that pain so we can either make a change in our life, we can get closer to God, or we can, you know, be a better person, or, you know, get rid of old habits, or however you want to say it. But there has to be pain for change, right? So I'm looking this up, and I know that 2020 was a big year for the devaluation of the dollar. So I'm looking at this. So since 1971, we've been off the gold standard. Okay. So the average loss of value, the purchasing power, is about between 95 and 98%, right? 30% of that has been since 2020. I just want you to think about that. Just in the last 6 years. It's a rough estimate, but it's about 30%. So we're feeling pain now, and it's only going to get worse as they continue to print this fiat, this fake paper that's backed by nothing. So I feel this pain. I feel this pain now, and I feel this pain. It's only going to get worse.
It's and to your point, they're not just printing, but every move they make is try to fix a broken system. You know, it's not like they're looking to reroute the system into something new. They're just continue to tinker with the same system. So until I'm not going to speculate what it could be, but just for example, until they reback it by gold and denominate it properly, it's all going to look this way, and it's always going to look this way. So that's why, to your point earlier, and what we talk about on the show is until we create that ecosystem that has the sovereignty, there's almost nothing we can do about it, you know, and that's the fucking bummer. That pain. I mean, that's why I'm here. That's why the show exists for me. Is I was trying to force myself back into that system, and the betrayal of that system, right? The entire United States of America system tells me I need to wake up, go to work, come home, make dinner, pay my bills, get 20 minutes to myself every single day, go to sleep and do it again. And if I don't do that, I go to jail. Or they take all my possessions and I'm left with nothing. And they tell me, why don't I pull myself by my bootstraps? And I tell them, I put out over 150 applications. I got 3 callbacks, 1 interview, and didn't get a job. So
what are you going to go to jail? What are you going to go to jail? You said you're going to go to jail for what?
Well, you could for, you know, if I don't make enough money to pay my taxes, or
You're not going to go to jail for
I'm
that.
just saying.
But no. But I think that's important. Like, you just went there, and I bet you there's a lot of people that think that 100 years ago you could go to jail for not paying taxes. That's not the case anymore.
Okay.
If you don't have the money, you don't have the money. That's how it is now. But like, there's a lot of information out there that gets people in that energy of thinking, oh, if I don't fucking do this.
That's fair.
So I think that's kind of why I bring it up, because it's like I've made a lot of money, and there's a lot of taxes that I had to pay, and I went and called the IRS. I've gone and done all these things, and I'm like, oh, okay, they tell you one thing, but it's something else. And you know why? Because, speaking to what Buffalo you guys are talking about, these systems are so ass backwards.
Mm.
We do not produce enough. And what is happening is we need to continue to expand the debt, right, in order to sustain this. And as long as people stay asleep and continue to believe that their dollars have value, it will stay propped up, right? And going to like the story of what Bitcoin store, gold being it. So like, these systems need, and just from an energy standpoint, and again, this is me going into like the medicine and me being really with my spirit. We need technologies like this to emerge. And it's not about just Bitcoin or Kaspa. Look at the way the Earth has been here, what, 4.5 billion years? Okay? We are a speck of existence. Yet we think we're like these entitled things, right? And we're not. We're this, so
I think,
that
they
right
say
there, because
humans.
I've had to have conversations, like that right there, people thinking like, oh, if I don't, but I think you experiencing that and what you went through, and then seeing where you've gotten to, you realize like, oh, as long as I just come to with truth, bro. If you don't have money to pay tax, you don't go to jail in the United States anymore. Like, we have it here a lot better than in a lot of other places. And I think we're late to the party when it comes to understanding how some of these other places, we're fortunate here in the United States, because as long as you're looking for work or trying to make it happen, you're gonna be fine for the most part, right? Like, I called the IRS. I had a huge tax bill last year. And they're like, all right, call us in 6 months and we'll reassess. And it's not a small amount, right? But I'm like, okay. And I told them everything that they wanted to know, because I know that that's how it is in that system. That's how that's how I exist in the system. So there's just a lot of misinformation. And here's the bigger thing, Bishop. And I think why I asked you that. And I just wanted to bring that up. Because what I've learned is that when you feel that, like, oh shit, I better go do something, and like you feel this, oh, I need to make it happen, and that's kind of the energy that a lot of people operate in, and it's everywhere, right? Like grinding, making it fucking happen. Like, that's how we are. That's how people talk. When you do that, you're going against like what the signals in your fucking nervous system are telling you. Like, we're not meant to operate. You will not expand, but beyond what you're capable of when you operate in that energy. I'm telling you this from experience. Somebody who fucking didn't have shit. Like, I didn't have shit when I was younger. And I got around some people that said, call it the secret, call it whatever you want. But it's like operating from an energy of just being like, okay, let me show up. This is what I can do. And then you expand from there. That's where I've created the best business opportunities. That's where I've created, 50 grand in a fucking day in commissions, 100 grand in a week, and made millions of dollars in a year. Right. And it wasn't because I wanted to go make that money. It was because I understood that aligning my energy with my truth and expanding from there creates like this frequency that you operate in that everybody wants. I don't give a shit where you're from. Like, you all want that. That's what people want. So that's one of the things I want to like continue, because you and I have conversations offline.
Yeah.
And I know that we're a reflection for each other, because I sometimes need you, like we need each other, right? But I think that that's one of the biggest things here is just realize, like, whenever you're getting you're feeling that anxiety and shit, it's your body telling you like to relax into it. Like, what is it trying to tell you? It's telling you something's off. Those are signals. Those are signals from your body to be like, what do I need to do? And a lot of times it's just in your breath. You know, I had the chakras and all that behind me, but it's like we have these energy components that we're fucking born with. Like we're all from energy. We're all from energy. And it's really about aligning that and you know, again, rechanneling that to create opportunities for you. That again, you don't have to like stress your way into this and grind and all. You know how I feel about that word.
Yeah, no, you're 1,000% right, and it also speaks to, you know, again, me being at my level where I am, right? Like part of what's missing from my level 10 is thinking that I'm gonna get arrested for being back on my bills and not paying the IRS, right? Like, you know, getting some fucking RICO charge or whatever because I'm evading taxes. Like that's
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's perfect though.
But that's what that's the energy, yeah, that a lot of people operate.
Like you said, if I'm thinking it, and again, let's say you're at a 10, I'm at a 5, somebody at a 1 is living it.
Yes.
You know, and that's where having these conversations are so important, because I mentioned it a couple episodes ago. Everyone has all levels inside of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And whenever you find your 10 to exist, you need to continue to polish, continue to work, continue to harness, so it becomes a bigger piece of your pie. And me again having that thought, it's like, okay, no need to fret now, you know. And I also now won't be exerting that information out of my mouth, because again, we're here to speak truth. So you interjecting the truth over a statement that I thought was flippantly true because that's what we've been told, you know, in my speech about doing things beyond what you're told. Like it's important. Yeah, man, I appreciate it for sure.
Yeah, because like I remember, I'm sure a lot of people here can relate to this, right? Like you think if you're doing everything, here's the beautiful thing about this country and what I do love about being raised here. If you do everything that you're supposed to do within, you know, like you're not doing anything maliciously, like there's no fucking bad consequences.
Right.
But there's this energy of like, if you don't do enough, then you're gonna pay for that. But it's not like that, you know. And a lot of times you just need to go towards that information to figure out like why. So you feel a certain way because there is like this information out there that kind of veers you away from that and having you understand what is actually true. No, bro, like I trust me, I operated, I'm like, I saw my tax bill and I'm like, all right, I don't have this right now. Like, and it's a lot, I kind of need to live. I'm like, how does this work? And I had lawyer friends and all these people like, oh, you better do this. You better fucking hire anybody. Thank you, AI. Thank you, the LLMs, all those things that out there saved me thousands of dollars. And I just spent a couple hours. I made some phone calls. I aligned my energy. They're not that mean at the IRS. I'm like, okay, here's my situation. What do you want to know? I'll tell you everything. I have nothing to hide. And they're like, all right, well, we'll reassess everything in 6 months. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, because I know I'm going to go out here and make some money. I'm gonna have to pay some taxes. Like that's part of the benefits of, you know, living in this country. So yeah, man. Again, there's so much, call it misinformation, misguided energy towards these things that a lot of people don't know about. Where it's just like, again, if you operate in truth and you have nothing to hide, bro, there's a solution to every problem. Okay.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And you know, you did bring up a good point, because if you are operating in truth and following the rules, because there's a difference between not paying taxes and sheltering yourself,
evading it,
to evade lying, taxes. Yeah.
That's when people get in trouble. So that's what we see on the news. Like, oh, this person, it's because they evaded shit. They try to get away from it. But we do operate in the confines of like these rules that are set. It is a centralized system. You can be mad at it all you want. Trust me, I've been mad. But I've come to this place where, So you're speaking to that, bro. And again, this is a different energy behind that conversation. It's like, where can you find your sovereignty within it? Right? Like that's what it is. Like, where can you find your level 10 to operate within this and gamify this shit, bro? That's what I've done. I'm like, I have to have fun. I'm like, okay, if I'm paying this much in taxes, shit, I've had some pretty good years. Like I'm making pretty good money. So that's how I see it. Some people are like, oh my God, I got to pay all this in taxes. There's people out there like that. Nah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, as part as the necessary evil when it comes to taxes, and I've struggled for a while on the individual side of it. This past year, we actually hired a service, and we pay monthly, and it's just to make sure that while I am gamifying,
Hmm.
somebody else knows the rules.
Yeah.
I let someone else call the plays. I'll be the quarterback, but you be the head coach. That's basically what we're doing.
There we go. That's where you are.
running this offense.
Yeah.
Tell me what play to run, and that's what's happening. Yeah, man. So we're definitely, and that's what you need to do. You have to gamify everything to truly find your sovereignty. Because
Right.
if you find yourself slave to the rules, then what we're going to end up doing is I'll be back to work somewhere else, and I won't have that sovereignty because, well, that's just easier. And if it comes a point where I can figure out the tax stuff while building my wealth, then I won't need that service anymore. Or I make so much money that paying for that service is a drop in a bucket, and it's actually just helpful to sovereignty. Look, I used to do my family's taxes, my wife and I, and our rental properties, and it would take me literally 5 weeks of entering, re-entering, moving this, moving that, trying to find a number that I liked to hit submit because I always knew there was something else out there. When I handed over that responsibility to this service, they kept asking for documents and I uploaded them. And every time I uploaded them, I put them into a separate folder. Okay. The amount of documents they needed this year to enter in the right place, right, with the right math and the right calculations, 34 documents they needed to process my taxes. Now, what does that mean for, everyone out there who does or doesn't do their taxes? What a normal family would have for husband, wife, and child, they would have one job every year. That's one W-2 for each. So that's 2. And they would have their mortgage paper to write off the interest they pay on their mortgage. Then any child care expenses, so you can get a credit for your children. 4. Usually that's all you would need if you had your shit together. Because of our rental properties and me having multiple jobs and her having multiple jobs and the different things, 34 documents we had to hand in. Me trying to do that by myself, a complete lack of sovereignty.
Yeah. So
Here
you
go.
hire someone.
Here's my sovereignty back.
That's you meeting yourself. Yeah, that's you meeting yourself where you're at.
Yeah,
So
1000%.
it's not. Again, it's like gamifying this as being like, okay, I can again when you, and this is a lesson I got from my foster family, bro. Like, because early on, when I would get frustrated, I would just beat the shit out of my brothers or I'd fight. And I played football, so I got a lot of it out like that. You can't do that when you become an adult, right? Like, I kind of learned to deal with things. So like that's how I see what you're talking about. It's really meeting yourself where you're at. Like, what resources are available for you to continue to have your sovereignty and to operate in truth, right? Without, trying to complicate it and bend the rules or go outside, because that's when you get in trouble. Like that's when people get in trouble, when they try to evade shit or lie or do anything like that. And we don't, I've just learned it, man. I've gone down that path. It's not fun. And I have like a good 10, 15 year run where it's like, I'm going to do it exactly how they tell me, toe the line, and make sure that, hey, I'm operating within my truth, and ask why. And once I understand, okay, I'm gonna operate from there. But yeah, dude. And again, I think I look at technology, and like I said earlier, bro, I thank these LLMs because they're gonna eliminate a lot of these fucking mindless, like lawyers. A lot of them are just crooks.
Yeah.
And I'll keep the amount that I saved or paid for somebody in 2023. But looking back, I'm like, oh my God, I did not need to do that based on, maybe yeah, I can kind of, I felt like at one time I'm like, damn, I think I'm a better lawyer than this person that I hired. Like, why the fuck am I paying them? And then I ended up representing myself, so that's not for everybody. Like, sometimes you got to pay for some of these things until you get yourself there. But again, speaking from experience, I'm like, oh shit, all these worries and things that I had were just me not we needed all these lawyers and all this shit before we had information the way we have it. right now, you know. So
Yeah.
if you don't operate in truth, like, you will be eliminated. That's what's happening with these fucking jobs, because there's obviously still going to be a demand or a need for lawyers and people in all these different fields that are just being replaced, man, by like robotics and technology evolving. So world's going to look completely different, I think, 5 to 10 years from now. I saw this coming. Like, my son has been in robotics camps for the past 3-4 years. And some of the stuff that his professor, in the summer camp was talking about, I'm like, wow. And obviously seeing the way it's playing out, with these self-driving cars, with all the delivery services, saving me money. Did I share with you this? Like, I remember being in Miami, and the first time I had a robot deliver food, it was like, save $9 if you can meet the robot downstairs on this delivery. And I'm like, oh shit, it's happening. So it's coming.
Yeah, and that's how it starts too, right? It's presented as a convenience until it becomes a luxury,
And
when
people are naturally going to flow to what's cheaper, easier, faster.
yeah. I mean,
that's
look,
why.
that's what happened with streaming services and XM radio. I called this when XM radio happened, right? And I was like, oh, okay. So once enough people have it, they're going to put commercials in because they can, right? But XM was supposed to be commercial free because you pay for it, right? And then now, if you have XM radio, which I don't, it's like nothing but commercials. It's standard radio,
Really?
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a little bit longer, but that's why I hate commercials with podcasts. When I love listening to podcasts, and I just started listening to this one, and literally the same ad, like 10 times in a 45-minute episode. And I'm like, what am I doing? I can't listen to this. It literally ruins the experience, right?
It does, bro. I saw that. I felt that with the NFL draft. I had the draft on in the background, and I'm like, damn, I haven't seen, because I pay for not to see ads and YouTube and a couple other things. But I'm like, I went to school for marketing. Like, all that shit is programming you, whether you realize it or not. That's all marketing is. That's all that's happening.
Netflix, Disney, Hulu, YouTube, like, this was all free to watch. And then guess what? We have enough people now. Okay, we're going to charge you for the service. Okay. Oh, now there's enough people watching and paying. We're going to put ads in here. And you know what? We're going to raise the price. That's the bullshit thing about capitalism that I hate, right? Like, I literally have not been to an NBA game since they put the patches on the jerseys, because they got an influx in revenue by adding a new sponsor, and they still raise ticket prices. And that's because they're allowed to. So you're raising revenue and all these.
Yeah, but that's the way. That's the thing, and that's where I give you some pushback, because that's the way the system is designed.
Yes.
The cream rises to the top. So, like, I just watched the American, like, the Hulk thing. Did you see that came out on Netflix?
What Hulk thing?
Hulk Hogan has, like, a documentary.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it. All right, so I won't ruin it for you. But anyways, you're speaking to, like, what naturally happens in a system. Call it capital. Call it whatever the hell you want.
That's what they call it. That's why I call it that. That's what they call it. They call it capitalism. So that's what I'm calling it.
I love to have a conversation around this, because, like, this is good to challenge this and to kind of look at it from, because I do feel like every time you bring this up about capitalism versus it's all a control system, and in the way, just look at the way society's evolved, like, over the past, however, like, what system has benefited the masses in society more? Like, obviously, in a system where, like, the cream rises to the top, there's a gap between the rich and the poor.
Right.
So, but in a capitalistic society, like, if you work hard initially, maybe you're not going to be rewarded. Okay, you're not going to make the money. They're sacrificing. I could just think about this with, like, my example in the fiat world, making fiat. Like, I didn't really make a shit ton of money. I didn't have the security of a salary or anything like that, but I understood the system. So in order for me to get up there, I got to do some things that other people aren't willing to do. Okay, so, like, you're talking Netflix and all this. So the way a lot of those are set up Like they start off as an idea, and then if people go there, then the people who built there and got there first, they're the ones that benefit the most, right? So we have examples of how in society that has produced the most wealth, and yeah, it does rise at the top. Like people that get there, they're
Right.
at the top.
And
Where
then
your argument comes
there.
in,
It stays there instead of.
yeah, they're not going to change. Like once you get there, a majority of people aren't going to be like, "Oh, I got here. Let me go share my wealth with everybody." Like that's where I'm like, I've had fucking money. Like even me, who I love people, I did not want to just give that to my family and be like, "Oh yeah."
No, for sure. And that's not even what I'm talking about. So take Arizona iced tea, for instance, right? That can, the 99-cent can, remember that?
Yeah.
Arizona iced tea, the 99-cent can. Now, of course, you go to a bodega or some other shop, they'll put a $1.25 sticker on top of it, but it still says 99 cents. And they asked the guys about it. And they said, we made enough money. Our consumers are deserving of always having this option. Now they also make glass bottles, they make energy drinks, they make other flavors where they do charge more. But there is still something to the consumer that helped them build that wealth that they do give back. I'm not saying they have to redistribute their wealth to everyone, but it's a balloon that continues to inflate without helping the people who inflate the balloon. So, for instance, when Netflix offers you a certain thing and it has a fantastic user experience, and then they manipulate and change the user experience to continue to increase their profits, where is this now energy exchange happening? Right? It's now just up to us to say, well, fuck you for ruining the energy exchange. I'm not going to use you anymore. That's now operating in bad faith, but it's allowed to happen. They can manipulate the user experience as much as they want on their energy exchange and continue to make that money.
Yeah, I don't see it as like you're okay. So, but you're speaking to Netflix as if it's like a person. Like Netflix is a company. So Netflix is the noun to the idea, and the company is run by humans, by people. So people within that, in this structure that we live in, right? Whoever, I don't know who started Netflix, started from the bottom, got here, right? And then when you become a public company like that, our structure and the way things are set up, that doesn't trickle down to the bottom. That's just not the way that structure is set up. We have examples of a social of it being flipped around in a system where it's like, let's spread the wealth. Okay, people aren't incentivized when you just hand shit out. Like that's just not that's why I think this protocol. You know what I'm saying? So like, you could sit here and be like, well, you know, that company is being greedy, but like natural human instinct is like, I worked for this, I want to keep this. But in that system, even when you have the money, you're being, you know, like the value of that money, if it's not spent and put in the right places, is going down. So like a natural energetic effect of like you having to spend that money. So like people buy things, and obviously what's happened in society, the prices of homes have gone up, commodities, right? All of this happens. And again, I just see it from a perspective because I've lived it. Like I've lived like not having anything and then building something. And what happens with your energy? Like I don't want to just give shit to people. I in my family, like when I operated from there, I did not see them as equal. So like when you get to a certain place and you build a company and you do that, that's naturally what happens to good people. Like even, you know, I can say good person, I'm try to do things the right way, right? Always. So in studying these protocols, Bitcoin, Kaspa specifically, being proof of work, I can see where the concept of decentralization, building from the ground up, completely flips that shit on its head. Okay? So that's why I think the argument of like capitalism, socialism, it's fucking like that system is broken. It's not going to be fixed from within. Like we have evidence of what it does, right? Cream rises to the top. The rich get richer, the poor get fucking poorer. I've been on both ends of the spectrum, you know? So that's what I mean. So like when you talk about it, and I this is the first time we're doing this publicly.
Yeah.
But Bishop and I talk about this before, and
this is a lot of our voice notes. This is a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
emotions.
for sure. For sure. This is good. This is good for people to hear it and like give their opinion if they want, right? I'm not trying to come from a place like I'm right. This is just my
Yeah,
experience and how I
yeah.
see it. Yeah. So it's like, to me, it doesn't fucking like, you just, I accept it. Like, to me, I just see it like I don't have any resistance to what it is, because natural human instinct is like, I work for this, I want to keep it. Okay. And in the system that we operate in, inflation is a silent tax. Like, you're not in control of the value of that money, and it's more Keynesian type of an approach, right? Where the Austrian is more, separate money and state. Like, our money should not be controlled by this fucking central entity that determines the price of money. And then the credit, what is credit? Credit's an expansion of the money supply. That's a tax on people that save in that fucking money, right? So the people that have benefited in that systems are the ones that exited. So how did they exit? Like, if you held gold, right? Gold was $20.67 an ounce for fucking 100 years. And in 1933, they confiscated gold from people and they fucking revalued that bitch to $35 an ounce. And that right there was the first signal of like, oh shit, the system's fucked. And then we've just expanded upon that. So gold what's the price of gold right now? Like $4,500 an ounce, whatever the fuck that is. It's still an ounce of gold.
Yeah.
It's still an ounce of gold. So like, that's the system, the cracks are everywhere. And I think a lot of us see that, but it's just like arguing about the capitalism. So they're all fucking broken, right? they're just broken, bro. We need new systems to exit into. And then, so in the meantime, play the fucking game and understand what's happening over here, and understand that you have an opt out, but you do need to operate. We do need to operate that, because it's impossible right now to completely exit it. So what is possible is a future where these decentralized protocols, and I don't see Kaspa and Bitcoin being the only iterations of one. I thought, if you haven't listened, Kaspa Silver put out a video of his interview with Joel. He's in Dash. But I think also for me right now, it's like, I need to educate myself on some of these other things and why they exist and how they exist, right? I have foundational principles of why like I spend my time in Kaspa, and that's the proof of work, decentralized, secure, bounded by energy, hard caps. Like, those are my foundational components, is the like, okay, that's why I spend my time over here, why I save in here. But I'm not just in Kaspa, right? Like, I have gold, I have property, like I have other assets, because in the system, you're a fucking fool if you throw everything into one thing and you'd be like, oh, this is what it is, what I want it to be. I don't advise that. Right?
It'll never be nothing. And we talked about this about Kaspa a couple months ago. Nothing will be what you want it to be. It just will not be what you want it to be.
You have to be real, right?
You can use whatever you can to help you get what, quote, you want, but without having, and we talked about this too, right? Without having the inside out, instead of, because everyone's trying to pull that outside in. How does Kaspa make me feel better? How does Netflix feel? How does all this shit make me feel better? No, from the inside out, and grabbing these noun to ideas. Yeah, I'm love that you brought that up. Kaspa will never be what you want it to be. That was like my response to a lot of people on Twitter a couple months ago. I was like, it's not what you want it to be. It's not going to be. You cannot be mad at Kaspa for not being what you want it to be. What is it? What is it? And that's why we stay here, decentralized, secure, bounded by energy. Solid.
Yes, sir. Yeah, because you can operate from there, right? In truth, and continue to see things for what they are. And then obviously, and this is where I appreciate you, because I do tend to be like right here, but where does the energy of the potential of the possibility of the future exist? It exists like thinking about what it could bring us, right? So there is a component. I just don't necessarily spend most of my time there, because I have evidence in my own life. I have the proof of work that when I'm here, like, that expands and turns into something I didn't even imagine, So yeah, bro, this is beautiful.
Yeah,
this is beautiful. And I'm glad we got into that here, just to kind of give like our perspective of it, because it's like you reel me in, and like, I know that I do that for you. We're mirrors of each other here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I wasn't even comparing capitalism to socialism in this conversation.
I know you weren't.
I have so many times. And I don't necessarily think it's the answer. And you guys should hear my take on China. you know, like fuck it, I'll just say it. For as much as people hate communism, there's so much innovation that comes out of China and so much forward thinking. And not only that, they foster their culture more than basically any other country. They've been going for thousands of years. And I'm not saying communism is the answer, or the people's, what is it called now? The Chinese Communist Republic
People's
or whatever,
Republic,
however they
something
phrase
like
it now. Like they found a way to harness innovation. But I don't know their starvation rates. I don't know their homeless rates. I don't know their drug problems. I don't know their violent crimes. You know what I mean? But you know, when it comes to innovation, you know, the U.S. lacks because it is survival of the fittest, and we pull each other down. And there isn't right? A nation of doers, not a nation of thinkers. You know, China has a shit ton of thinkers over there because they push for it. You know, and no,
Right.
I don't want to raise my kid and I mean, look, how is it portrayed in movies when it comes to Asian parents and children, right? Like how strict all that is, right? That's a narrative for a reason. But anyway, yeah, man, like no, we as a sovereign people, if you will, the way Buffalo was describing it earlier, like running ourselves in a sovereign nature to find a way to create that ecosystem, we can not worry about socialism. We can not worry about capitalism. We can not worry about communism. Yes, it does take a firm foundation, right? Like, look, I don't know all the local capabilities of what Rosario's trying to, you know, get across. Am I even able to become a citizen over there and actually live there, or do I have to do visitor visas for 30 years? You know, like that's something I've thought of, but not put any thought in. So to even execute this idea, it's not like where Rosario is sovereign from any other nation. No, there's still an infrastructure that it exists on top of. So we can romanticize the future as much as we want, and we can talk about how sovereign we want to be. But unless it literally is on a private island, good luck. And then even if you are on a private island, now you need to make trade negotiations with countries to be able to get shit delivered to you. Like this is real out here. So
we're deep in it,
yeah,
bro. Like we're deep in this system, you know, and I think acknowledging and speaking on it, not shying away from it and running is super important. So it's like these are things where, you know, you get shut down. And again, the crowds aren't here. This isn't what people are necessarily tuning into. So congrats to you people that are like intrigued by this and listening to us, because like we're built different, right? Yeah. And that's the only way that we bring awareness to some of these things that people are feeling, but it's buried within, you know, a lot of people. Yeah, so there's a way to this, but like I mentioned earlier in the show, bro, like think of how Nikola Tesla was looked at for being like, oh no, we could do alternating current, and people laughed at him. I laughed him out. That man died poor, you know, and now he's being glorified for all of these things that we obviously needed. So this is going to be a slow roll, and we just have to be cognizant and aware of it. And there is a way to find like your level 10 and your peace and your flow within this and have fun with it, man. Because it's, you know, life can be beautiful if you allow it to be. It can be. It is, bro. It is.
It is. You know? It is. No, it's there's a very, like we mentioned it last week about, you know, the popular phrase of now being touch grass, right? But there's truth in that sarcasm. Do it. Touch nature. You know, get in the ocean and put yourself in that salt water and tell me how you feel 30 minutes later. Like there is a complete difference in connecting with nature. One of my, I was actually listening to a podcast the other day. I forget what the name of it was, but the verbiage was through meditation. What does that look like? And one person was, you know, well, I sit down and I do the stereotypical, you know, cadence to myself and get into a meditative state. The other guy was like, I meditate when I get a massage. And I was like, wait a second. I've done that. Like for when I have my back issues, the one thing that worked for me over everything was medical massage. And because what it would do is actually manipulate the areas that were trapped, but also put me to sleep. I would actually go to sleep while I had someone's elbow in my hip bone. I would, because I could meditate to the connectivity and all of that. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize that's where I was. And I would actually have to wiggle my fingers to wake up, wiggle my toes, and get the blood flowing again because I was that locked in. And the only time I felt like that was during a Tai Chi class where we did a meditation, a guided meditation, and she would speak and I would feel in the flow. And then she would go, now gently wiggle your fingers. And my fingers would be so heavy, bro. So heavy. I'd have to wake them up. And I'm like, oh, now I can feel everything. And getting that connectivity back. Then, long story short, which I never do, I started when we bought this property, we're on an acre and most of it is grass. I would lay right in the grass and just breathe while I laid there. And I have no clue what it was, but one day I felt like across my chest. I don't know if it was a bird, a bunny, whatever, but it didn't even move me. I felt it. I was in it. I opened my eyes. It was bright. Like I was just so connected. So I try to do that as often as I can. To be fair, I haven't done it in a long time, like over a year, because we go to the beach now. And as much as I hate the beach, I sit there in the sand and I just stay in it. So connecting to nature is so fucking huge, man. So huge.
Yeah. It's where it's where we came from, brother. It's a part of us, man. So
it's what we're made of.
We're all, yeah. So there's this thing, mycelium. You ever heard of mycelium?
Yes.
It's how nature communicates with each other, right? So they have this connection, like all trees that you see, they all get to each other. They all communicate and talk to each other. So yeah, touch grass. Bro, you know what's been happening? Because I've shared with you. I think I shared it here with the people on the show. I didn't really cook for myself up until my time here in Texas, and I'm noticing like I can't, like I just prefer it now. Like I've gotten into that habit, and that's another level of like connection to myself. So now I feel it where, yeah, I'd rather I go to a local market here. The food's more expensive than it is, and I understand why. But it's like you know what I find out too is like I don't need as much either. Like I'm getting more of the nutrients, and I'm obviously like really into my health and all that. But I'm like, oh my god, I'm feeling so much more connected to myself. I already felt connected, but just cooking, I'm like, damn, I'm enjoying this, bro. I really am. And I mentioned earlier, like having my son come here for his summer break. Like we're gonna spend it here, and I'm looking forward to that because he's like, I want to cook more and all that. So yeah, dude. So touching grass, preparing your own food. You know Zach Galifianakis, that comedian. I saw an interview like where he has a show called a gardening show. And I'm like, I'm gonna start looking at that.
Yeah,
Make my own little garden out here, bro. I don't know. We'll see.
Can't hurt. Can't hurt.
I don't think
we
so,
tried it a couple years here, and we can't get anything to grow on purpose. And I say that because every Halloween we throw our pumpkins into certain parts in the yard, and something ends up growing from those pumpkins from Halloween. But every time we plant, like whether it's I don't know, string beans or hot peppers or cucumbers, whatever, they never grow. So once we get our sovereignty done, once we align our sovereignty and harness this path that I'm on right now, we'll be able to open our eyes a little bit more and pay attention to a garden, so we can put the proof of work in to getting our garden on point. But we have plans for it. We don't do much vegetables. We try to eat as much meat as possible, but we're looking forward to building a garden, but just haven't been able to execute it. Yeah, tons of flowers. We got really nice flowers. We do good with that, but not with any vegetables.
Yeah, you'll get there. Yeah. There's certain things that you can grow. I don't know anything about it, bro. I'm just like intrigued right now since I've been preparing my own foods.
Yeah,
like, what a difference in my body. Like I'm the leanest that I've been. I haven't weighed myself, but I mentioned I'm 6'1", 200. I'm probably closer to like 190. Like you know, my buddy saw me a month ago and he's like, "You look skinny." I'm like, "Yeah, I know that I've lost some muscle mass. I'm more flexible, still doing the yoga, but it's just different. You know, it's different. So we'll see. But
I
yeah,
haven't been
that's
190.
my new thing. It's just like I love like preparing my meals
Yeah.
like every single day. It's been awesome.
I haven't been 190 since high school.
No,
Yeah. No, as an adult, I think the lowest I weighed over the last 20 years has been like 218. Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to get
no, it
down
makes
there again. You know,
you know
different.
like what I'm realizing too as I've cooked from again. You know, like you don't need as much. You definitely don't need as much. And like, what does the body need
Yeah.
to feel like it's getting all the nutrients? And like, you know, there's so much shit in our food, all these pesticides, like all that stuff, and I can feel it. I can feel it like when I, you know, like I did go to a place where it's like oven brick, you know, pizza. So like the pizza felt it was delicious. Like you could tell that all natural ingredients. So like I can feel the difference when I
Mm.
put something that has something in it, you know, because I'm buying from a local market and everything. So yeah, my next evolution is maybe growing my own shit. And,
We actually we have an Amish farm that delivers to our house, and we're a drop host for we get anywhere from 4 to 15 members of the community pick up stuff at our house. And but what they deliver is fresh from the cow milk, milk, cheeses, cream cheese, cottage cheese, and meats too. Like they'll do ground turkeys and pork and all that stuff, all fresh from their farms. So it's literally farm to you. And because it's an Amish farm, they have some type of thing where they don't have to go through the homogenation process and all that stuff. So it's like as natural as it gets. It's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Can't necessarily send that to you, but you know.
yeah, man.
But
We'll do this. Is where we at?
we just passed 2 hours, and if no one wants to pop up, we can wind it down.
Yeah, let's give anybody a chance if they want to come up and say anything. But yeah, we got to put in that proof of work, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to and listen in like on episode 100 of Blockchain Banter. So
Yeah.
encourage people to jump in on that.
Yeah, shouts to Lavendi. Oh, real quick, Lavendi, are you mining on your Android?
Oh no, I am not.
I need to. I have 2 Androids and I don't mine on either one of them, but it's just because I have bad battery on one, and the other one I'm trying to save the battery, so I'm a little bit twixt. But
Bro, I have same situation because I've got so many brand accounts. The sheer amount of fucking notifications that drain my batteries is insane.
yep.
I've got it across two phones, and even that's not enough now.
Yep. Same.
But,
it looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no. It was from the print. What's the full name? I forget the name. I was speaking to him. Guy that does the 3D printing, right? That made the
I believe so. Yeah.
Forget the name.
It's around. If anyone has an Android, it's interesting mining Kaspa on their Android. Just search it up in Twitter, and
is that really mining the network though? Like really helping and validating the network, or?
I think it's a way to enforce your belief. To be honest, I think it's a way to, if you can't help. That's how I see it. No, it's not, groundbreaking security. But it's also less devious than building a 51% mining pool. You know what I mean? So I think creating community that way is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a way to participate. Yeah, because I saw that there was a couple things. Who was it? Was it? He's from Australia. I can't think of his name off the top. He, yeah, I can't think of his
LD1. Luke, right?
Luke, yeah. Luke talked about like, hey, this is good, but like, let's be real about what it is. So yeah, I think it's a way for people to participate, like kind of get into it. But for me, I can't wait because I have my miners and all that in Miami. So on my next trip over, I'm gonna bring some stuff so I can start mining again.
Oh shit! How many you got?
I have 3 of them because I have 3 of them. And I'm gonna bring. I mean, I could set up my note here, but I have like only 2 of my laptops. I had a laptop with a note. I had my I had my note. I had my whole little setup in Miami, but I haven't had any of that. And it doesn't feel right. Like it's just I need to get that going again. So that energy is flowing.
I guess it.
So
Yeah. All right. Well, that's great. Let's do it then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Lavendi, thank you for hopping on. And again, congratulations on episode 100. I will be listening back. I might not be able to make it there live, but shouts to you guys on episode 100. Send the love from us. And thank you, Buffalo, for hopping on as well. To everyone else, this has been episode 27 of Live on the Kaspa Standard. I'm Bishop at LOTKS.kas. That's Juan at Juan G. Ramos 888. If you'd like to send an energy exchange donation, we own LOTKS.kas and liveonthekaspastandard.kas. Also, if you'd like to help the show and support in any other way, check out the episode descriptions on YouTube. Like and subscribe over there, and click some of the links in there. If you don't have Kas yet and you'd like to check it out, use the Kraken link. Promo code for both of us. We get a little bit of. It's either fiat or Bitcoin that Kraken gives you, but either way, whatever they give you, put that shit right in the Kas, baby. Other than that, that's episode 27. Juan, my friend, take us out.
Yes, sir. So just remember, guys, Kaspa is vibrating at the frequency of truth seekers, and the truth is catching on. Be humble, be kind, give it time. Love each and every single one of you. We will see you next week for episode 28, 28. Work Done comes to mind. Work Done, sure. 28. Another famous 28.
Today was Eddie Lacy, rookie of the
year.
year.
Was Eddie Lacy, Eddie George.
Yeah, so the amount of
those are football players, in case you Kaspa people don't know football players. The football nerds over here. All right, brother.
All right.
We'll see you guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.